All right, so there is a classic defense that I like to call it the classic Nazi defense, and that is, I was just following orders, right? Everybody knows that is, it's a really infuriating argument, because what it aims to do is it aims to abandon the responsibility that you yourself have for your own actions. If you say, hey, I didn't have a choice, I had to do this, you're saying, there's nothing else that I could have done. If I don't have a choice, then I can't be morally held responsible for what I've done. The problem with that is that you are a moral actor. Every person is a moral actor, and you are responsible for the decisions that you make. So I learned this actually through a situation when I was in the Marine Corps, and I was ordered to use a paperclip as a fuse. And I didn't want to do this. As a matter of fact, to me, this sounded like one of the dumbest ideas I've ever heard. Love the guy that told me to do it. He was a staff sergeant. I was a corporal. He was a great guy, and I was like, hey, listen, staff sergeant, that sounds like a terrible idea. Let's not do that. He was like, well, you're not going to get fuses tonight, so if we don't do it, you won't be able to do anything. I'll tell you what, if anybody gives you any trouble, just tell them, I told you to do it and I outrank you. And I was sitting there, as a young Marine, thinking to myself, man, is there any way I could not do this? I really would like to tell Staff Sergeant no, but I mean, he's right, he does outrank me. So I went ahead and did it, and I blew up a power supply. It was like a $10,000 power supply, or $8,000 power supply. So I put the notes in the log and said, I did this, do not repeat this. This is a bad idea. Wait for the fuses to come in. And the next morning, the boss comes in, Gunny, and he finds that there are 3 blown power supplies, and he wants to blame me for all 3 of them. And I was like, yeah, Gunny, I did one, and I wrote it down in the book. The other 2 were done by night shift, and I'm guessing they didn't write it down in the book. But anyway, Gunny was really upset with me, and he said, you should have known better than to obey Staff Sergeant's order. And I said, I missed that day in boot camp. Could you tell me how I was supposed to know better? And he did. He explained that our test procedure was an MCO, a Marine Corps order. And it was, Marine Corps order, yada, yada, 987, blah, blah, blah. So it did not include using a paperclip as a fuse or as a replacement for a fuse when troubleshooting this radio. Therefore, I was not authorized by the order to do anything other than what was in that particular test instruction set. So I was like, okay, that's great to know. I wish I'd have known that last night, because I would have told Staff Sergeant no. Anyway, I didn't actually get in trouble for it. Gunny was mad at me. But my point is this. We need to understand that there are higher orders than the orders that we are dealing with in our daily lives, right? The Constitution of the United States is the highest law in the land. And if a state or a county attempts to violate that law, we should say no. You have a moral obligation, a duty to disobey unlawful orders and to resist unlawful orders. This is something that I learned in the Marine Corps, and now I'm a pain in everybody's neck. I wish there were more people like that out there. More people who understood that you don't have the ability to violate these higher orders. You don't have the ability to, even police and council members, it's not just that they can't violate the Constitution, they can't do anything that they don't have a legal basis for. So if they say, hey, you have to get on your knees and bark like a dog, unless there's a law saying that you have to get on your knees and bark like a dog, you don't have to. It doesn't require there be a law that says you don't have to get on your knees and bark like a dog. It requires for them to be able to give you that order lawfully. They have to have an order, or they have to have a law that empowers them to tell you to get on your knees and bark like a dog, which I'm pretty sure doesn't exist in any of the 50 states at the moment. So that's what we're dealing with. The standard Nazi defense, just following order. Oh, let me go into this. It's a little bit longer, but we actually tried the Nazis at Nuremberg. We went through basically 2 sets of trials. There were the Nuremberg trials, and there was another thing happened basically at the same time and place called the judges' trials. And we actually tried the judges in Germany that said it was legal for people to murder Jews. We tried the people who pulled the lever on the gas chamber. We tried the people who issued those orders. And when they said that they were just following orders, we said, no, that is not a sufficient justification. You are still a moral actor, and the fact that somebody gave you an unlawful order is not a sufficient excuse, because you had a duty to resist that unlawful order. Now, we cannot, as America, have done that and then turn around and say, we're going to allow that for our own people, our own officiates, our own administrators, our own political personnel. So for us, it is particularly important to say that just following orders is not a sufficient excuse.